we're going to get, the ripples of the debt problem? Is it going to be at the subnational level? You think it'll hit first emerging markets, which is obviously we're seeing examples of that already, but that then escalating into the more Western nations?
Yeah, because emerging markets, most of them have borrowed in foreign currencies. And as I've said before, if the dollar goes up, you end up bankrupting so many different countries and companies because they borrowed in dollars because they thought it would be cheap. And it's the same thing like with the Swiss peg. Like I said, when the peg broke, all these people that have mortgages in Swiss francs suddenly own, 30% more in their house. So, I mean, this is the problem. And the emerging markets in particular, I mean, you can Google it and find out, what each one. But, most of them have issued debt in dollars, and this is the problem. And the dollar goes up, and you wipe out an awful lot, and then you have a debt crisis that filters in and comes back and hits a bank. The 1931 debt crisis, when that broke, it was a little bit different because the foreign governments were issuing bonds in small denominations and the bankers were selling them to the public. So you had, that's what really created the Great Depression, because you wiped out all the people that had bonds, etc. And I mean, I remember when I was young, I'd see there were still a whole bunch of ladies out there when they were lending money to South America with signs protesting because their families were wiped out in 1931 because they had foreign bonds, and they lost everything. So that's really what created a lot of the banking crisis back then. This time, it's, the banks have been the ones that have been holding this stuff. And so we have the risk of banks going down in this whole situation. And I think then you add to what I just said, that the Fed would take direct deposits. If you end the government borrowing money, the way the bankers have been able to be bailed out continually is that they are the primary dealers. So what happens is they say, hey, if you let us fail, who's going to sell your bonds? All right, so they would always bail out the bankers. Now, if what happens at this stage in the game is that if you no longer have a national debt, we no longer need the banks. So you want to speculate on a lot of things, you want to lose money, that's on you, okay? And so things are changing. They're dramatically changing in that way. And so, you can Google it and pay attention to that one, because when the Fed is saying that they will take direct deposits, that's really what they're saying. We don't need the primary dealers anymore, and eventually what will happen is that they don't borrow. The government just prints.